welcome guys. I'm just going to do a video on how to use torpedoes. So I have done multiple of these in the past, but I'll do an updated version with the latest turret traversal bug, because that is the main reason I think that people will be struggling using torpedoes. So I'll do one in 1890s. I'm doing 93 rather than 90 because I want the fast torpedoes. Without fast torpedoes, you'll basically never land a torpedo. So personally, I prefer to break my ships up because it means you can control each one individually. Makes it so much easier than if they were all in a battle line where you can only control the front one. So once you've broken them all up, select them all and just right click and it'll form a follow line for you, which is essentially exactly the same as a battle line, only with you being able to control each individual ship. Now what I usually do is turn them all onto save and then turn the lead one onto aggressive. The best thing to do is to turn off the avoid on each ship so they don't get in each other's way and they can actually turn. So when you're turning, so say for example I'm going towards him and he turns one way and then I do a drastic turn to match him, your turrets will stop traversing. So to get them traversing again, you have to turn the opposite way to the direction you've just turned. Now your turrets will start traversing again. So head directly, well not quite directly at them because of the friendly fire mechanic that's been introduced. So head just off to an angle towards them. Then as you can see he's turning now. So once we get within torpedo range, you can also start turning. Then once you've done your turn the opposite way to reset the turret traversal bug. Then just head straight forward and you'll see that your torpedoes will launch. You can then select the next person, do the same thing. So don't head directly at them so you don't get friendly fire from the ships behind you. So just head to the side of them, either side, whether you want to go back or forward, it makes no difference. So head just to the side, do a drastic turn when you get almost within torpedo range, then do a drastic turn the other way and then level yourself off and the torpedoes will fire. So drastic turn, drastic turn the opposite way. Once your ship is leveled out, just go forward and your torpedoes will fire. You can use the rudder if you want. So drastic turn one way, wait until he's turned a bit. Drastic turn the other way, wait until he's leveled off, then go forward. So if you find that your torpedoes aren't firing, it just means that you haven't turned one way enough. Now it's impossible to tell whether it's left or right that you need to turn to get your turrets traversing again. So just turn left or right for a couple of degrees. If it's still not firing, then just turn the other way for a couple of degrees. Eventually your torpedoes will fire. Okay, so we didn't manage to sink him, which was a shame, but we're going to move on to the next. Oops. So break everyone up, select everybody, right click, turn everybody's avoid off. I should have turned this on to save once I'd selected everybody. Double click on the battle line because that's the person in the lead. One other thing as well, if you want your turrets to traverse before you get into like if you want them to follow the enemy ship before you get into firing range, you have to manually shift and right click on them to get them tracking the enemy, as you can see. Well, you might not be able to see, but the torpedo tubes will track when you're outside of the torpedo range. If you don't do that, they won't track, they'll just carry on pointing forwards. Well, I've got a feeling that this is a player designed ship. Maybe not, it's got 12.4. Maybe the AI just got lucky and got an awesome ship. Even the AI can design good ships on occasion. It's only got 2.7 weight offset, which is good for the enemy. It's got high beam, low draft, which is really good. And it's got pretty low pitch and roll, so yeah, they've actually designed a decent ship. And it's got 12-inch guns, which is the best guns. So yeah, looks like I might struggle to demonstrate on this one. So unfortunately I've still only got 1 kilometer range on this. So I think what I'm going to do is just leave the battle, just go up a few years, because I want to get about 2 kilometer range preferably. So let's have a look. So that has got 5 kilometer, and then with fast torpedoes it'll have 3. So 3.3 kilometer. So let's go down. Whoa. Let's try 1901, see what we get for that. 2 kilometer, there we go, 1901. Right, so I'll just quickly design the ship. So I'm just putting the smallest guns and the worst towers on because I just want to show you torpedoes. I'm not interested in the guns. Right, so engine efficiency is important, but it's not the be all and end all with a torpedo boat because they already have good accelerations. Interesting. Unfortunately, just can't quite fit that there, which is a shame. So that will do. So I'm not bothered about any of this stuff because I'm literally just showing you how to use torpedoes. Can reduce that. Might even be able to get. No, it won't quite fit in. Right then, let's go. One thing you can do on your approach is do a zigzag approach to get the modifier for the range, the accuracy. So the enemy has worse accuracy against you because you're zigzagging. Does mean that it takes you a little bit longer to reach the target though. So our ships are to the left of us, so if we go this direction we're going to get friendly fire. So we're going to go this direction from behind. We have a worse firing arc because obviously he's stern in rather than broadside, but at least we won't get friendly fire. There we go, he's fired his torpedoes. So you do get more duds. Ouch. You do get more duds when you hit the bow and the stern rather than the broadside. But sometimes it's better to get a potential dud than it is to get an almost guaranteed friendly fire. Okay, so obviously this isn't going too well. So what I'll do is I'll show you another way to control your ships. You might actually prefer this way. So if you're struggling to close in on the target like I was doing there, one thing that you can do is if you create a full division of one type of ship, so torpedo boats, or if you're using light cruisers, turn off the avoid ships, turn them onto abreast. So you're going to want to turn your torpedoes off for the time being. What this will do is your ships will approach the target en masse rather than feed them into the meat grinder one at a time. So it means that we'll have more time, or they'll have less time to kill us, we'll have more time to kill him. Still really accurate though. Like a sniper. Okay, so with the first ship, if you click on him rather than drag, it only selects one ship. We didn't actually shift right click onto the enemy, so they're not tracking them. So if you sail behind them, obviously you've got more chance of a ricochet. Well, it classes as a dud, but basically it's a ricochet version, a torpedo version of a ricochet. But you can get a better firing arc because obviously your torpedoes are already aiming in that direction, so it's easier to catch up with them. So all you have to do is just sail in a straight line in the abreast formation behind the target, and then just turn the lead ship's torpedoes on. Once he's fired, you can then select the next ship that's closest to him. His is actually turned on, must have been because I drag selected him. So yeah, you basically just sail behind them, and then what you'll find is each one of these, as they're sailing behind, will fire the torpedoes. Now this does mean that you haven't got full control over the turret traversing block like you have if you're using one ship at a time. But if you just sail in a straight line with no drastic manoeuvres, then you don't really get the turret traversing block. So now the ships on the other side quite often don't fire, because obviously they don't want to get friendly fire, so at this point you just turn around, do a U-turn. Then the ships that were on the right are obviously still on the right, but now they're closest to the target. So you just do a U-turn, and then the ships on the opposite side will now be closer to the enemy. So this is an easier way, but with a little less control, especially over the turret traversing block. Well, the speed at them shells. The speed that them shells are coming in tells me he's got plus 20% barrels on his guns, so it's not really surprising that he's sniping me from a mile away. Right, we're obviously struggling, so let's go forward and try 1910. Go on, let's be generous to ourselves and give us 10 destroyers. Okay, so we've just got a whole row of torpedoes with a couple of guns. We've actually got a torpedo launcher at the front, which I don't normally do because I prefer all my torpedoes to fire simultaneously. But it can sometimes be useful to have a front-facing torpedo. Okay, so we're going to try the abreast formation. So what I'm going to do is turn them on to save. There's less chance of friendly fire. But I'm turning on to save to everybody, and then the ones that I actually want to fire. If they're not firing, I'll turn each individual one onto aggressive. You just got to remember when you want to select an individual ship when you're in a battle line, drag select doesn't work. It selects everyone. You have to actually click on the ship. Okay, so we're sailing behind them. With the lead ship, don't drag select, click on him. Turn his torpedoes onto aggressive. Okay, so with the lead ship, turn the torpedoes onto aggressive again. Try not to do any drastic maneuvers so you don't get the turret traversal bug. Okay, this is now the closest ship, so we're going to turn him onto aggressive. I was going to say he's not firing his torpedoes because he's been doing drastic maneuvers, but he died anyway. He did manage to get a salvo off. Okay, so we're going to turn his torpedoes on. So there's a chance that they don't fire when there's another ship near them because they're afraid of friendly fire. This counts for sinking ships as well as surrendered ships, so you can have a real nightmare with that. If you've got a sinking ship or a surrendered ship near the enemy, you want a torpedo, you're going to have an absolute nightmare. Okay, sorted. So that is the Abreast formation way of doing it. Move on to 1920 now, and then we'll try the line formation again. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 quad launchers, so we've got a lot of torpedoes. So the good thing with having them all split up individually as well is you can put the smoke on each ship one by one. So when he gets damaged or destroyed, you can then put the smoke on the one behind. So I like not having to put the smoke on everybody. Ouch, bloody hell man. The AI have really improved on the ship design. Okay, so now that there's a sinking ship there, we're going to need to go on the inside of them, or the turrets won't fire, because it classes sinking ships as friendly ships. My god, look at the sniper accuracy! Absolutely disgusting. You can tell they're snipers because of the speed that the shells come in. Okay, so because he wasn't firing, I just manoeuvred slightly. So if you just do slight manoeuvres, you usually find that they start firing. So obviously you're tempted to go on the inside to get a broadside on, but just don't bother because you'll get friendly fire. Only try to turn inside at around about 3 or 4 kilometers away. Don't do it when you're close to them. Okay, so we've got one here that doesn't want to fire his torpedoes. So if we just turn one way, if he still doesn't fire, turn the other way, and then it'll free up the turret. He didn't actually fire all of them, so you can just keep turning until he fires all of them. You only need to turn small amounts. It's just to unlock the turret bug, basically. So it looks like we've almost finished him off. Pretty good considering he was a full-on sniper. Oh, this is one of my designs, that's why. No wonder I was struggling. 12.9 and 8.9. Yeah, this is one of my designs. I wonder he was absolutely slaughtering me. Right, yep. Sadly, he's got 13 float, even though he's lost all of his... Did I give him... No, he's got standard bulkheads and single hull bottom. Interesting. He's just a superhuman. So yeah, I think that's probably enough of a demonstration for you. But I will carry on. 1930, so we'll increase the distance. I think this will probably be against one of... Oh right, I haven't even designed a torpedo boat at 1930. So looks like I haven't designed an enemy ship either. So let's see. Right, so it looks like the speed is around about that. Don't particularly need them, I don't think. We're not using guns, you don't need to worry about smoke interference. Now, depending on what types of torpedoes you're using, you might actually want spotting and radar. Because obviously if you're using long range torpedoes, you're going to need to see them from far away. Okay, so let's have a look, see what we've got. 100% engine efficiency with the smallest one. So that's all we need. Just put the customary gun on. So we're going to try electric torpedoes this time, may as well do something different for this mission. Right, so we've got a 4-weight offset, so that means that we need to move the funnel. So delete that, move the funnel. Unfortunately, I just need to move. That's annoying. Right, so let's move that to there. That to there. We've still got a 4-weight offset, so it means that we're going to have to move the funnels again. We've still got a 4-weight offset, so we're going to want that over here. You can put funnels behind the towers. It looks like we've still got a weight offset, so that should do it. Oh, I've pushed these a bit too far forward. Right, that'll do it. Doesn't matter about a little bit of a weight offset. Okay, so one thing I haven't mentioned with these torpedo launchers is you get a better firing arc forward if if you actually rotate them forward, because the base is actually 1 notch further that way. So you get a slightly better firing arc than you would do facing backwards. But we're not going to bother because I'm not min-maxing. But if you did want to min-max, just move them back 1 notch and then rotate it with the R and T buttons. Okay, so 40 knots, I think that's everything. Don't really need to mess about with anything else, just using torpedoes. Okay, off we go. So I'm just going to use the line formation. I recommend the line formation every time. You only switch to the abreast formation if the line formation is not working, if the enemy ships are too good. So we're using electric torpedoes this time. So that means that we can shoot from further away, but they're a lot slower at travelling. So it can be quite tricky. They're my least favourite torpedoes, the electric torpedoes are, because of how slow they are. The enemy are north, which is that way. So to find out where the enemy are, if you hit retreat, you know that they're exactly opposite to that direction. So you know that they are there. It basically retreats you away from the closest enemy. So they might move, obviously, but it gives you a pretty accurate estimation about where they're going to be. Okay, so our range is 12.9. He is currently at 19, so we're going to have to get quite a lot closer. So we're going to want to try and shoot him from the front this time. So he's going in that direction. So we're going to try and match him. We're going to turn the lead ship onto aggressive. Now, what I like to do with electric torpedoes, because we're obviously firing from far away, is to actually watch the torpedo in the water. Because basically, if you fire against a single enemy, what I can do is actually tell them to target him. So they've got the turrets rotated. If you fire at a single enemy, then rather than a ball of enemies, then if you fire all of your torpedoes at the same time, they only need to dodge once, and they'll dodge all of your torpedoes. So you don't really want to fire your torpedoes at the same time if you can help it. So what I like to do is fire one set of torpedoes, and then watch the torpedoes, wait until he's reacted, turned. Once he's started turning, wait until he's finished his maneuver and then fire your next set of torpedoes. Otherwise he'll just dodge all of your torpedoes. Right, because he's not heading towards us anymore, we're going to have better luck if we actually sail behind him. Also, if one of your lead ships takes damage, you might want to branch off like a tree. So that ship will go that way now, this ship will go this way, so you're avoiding the friendly fire. Then once this ship gets damaged, this ship will now branch off and go that way. So you end up with like branches of a tree. It's just to avoid the friendly fire. Okay, so he's now firing some of his torpedoes, so he's obviously in range. So you can now just wiggle about a bit to try and get all of the torpedoes fired. Okay, so we've managed to get them all fired. What I quite often do now is just put him in a rudder turn or set him to screen. Okay, so let's see if we can see these torpedoes. They're all here. They're all heading straight at my ship. Okay, so obviously we've fired all of our torpedoes now. So what we're going to do is send this ship in the opposite direction. Just to create a bit of a crisscross pattern. Unfortunately I've sailed straight into one of my own torpedoes. Rather annoying. This ship can now go this way. So if you have a crisscross pattern like this, it makes it incredibly hard for the enemy to dodge all of them. You'll find when you've taken a huge amount of damage, basically your ship will start listing. At that point you won't be able to fire your torpedoes, no matter how hard you try. I think you can actually fire them if your stern or bow is pointing directly at them, but once you're listing, that's the only time you can fire your torpedoes if the stern or bow is pointing up. So just wiggle about a bit, left a bit, right a bit, and hopefully it'll unlock the turret. So as you can see, all of these turrets were all turning at a different rate to each other. That's because half of them were locked. Okay, so we're just going to move out. Unfortunately he's already fired some. Fingers crossed I don't shoot myself. Just going to move out with this one to get a bit of a crisscross pattern going. Okay, so this ship might need a bit of a wiggle to fire his launchers. There we go, a little bit of a wiggle and he started firing. There we go. And that's pretty much it. Don't really think there's any point in doing oxygen torpedoes. It's basically the same thing as this, but they're best used against a large clump of enemies, a big doom stack. Oxygen torps can be great against a doom stack. Right then. I think that'll conclude the video. So I hope this has been helpful, guys. Take care, and I'll see you soon.